Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce, and I had an interesting question on my 762 confusion video, and I thought I would respond to that here. Had someone ask me, what is a modern equivalent to the 762x25 pistol cartridge? If you're not familiar with the 762x25 right there, there's a neck down. It's almost like a 9mm cartridge that's a little bit longer than normal. The normal length case, and it necks down to a 30 caliber bullet, and it is screaming out of the barrel. It's a super fast, actually very accurate round. It's a miniature version of a rifle round in the palm of your hand. It has a much better chance of defeating body armor and things of that nature, and they were asking me what would be a modern equivalent to that. Well, that's a good question. The first thing that came to mind was the 357 SIG cartridge. You see a picture of it right there. The 357 SIG is basically a 40 caliber case that necks down to a 9mm bullet. And it is very powerful. I've shot quite a bit of it. It's a fantastic cartridge. It's very accurate, very powerful, and it basically accomplishes the same thing as the 762x25. But what if I want to go even more modern? Well, I came across something, the 22TCM 9R. Look at that thing. It's a 22 bullet in basically an elongated 9mm case. And you can put this through your Glock 17. There's a Glock 17 conversion barrel and recoil spring that comes in a kit. You slap it into your Glock 17 and it's supposed to work. Does it? I have no idea. But let's find out. The conversion barrel I got was made for a Generation 4 Glock 17. Well, I don't have a Generation 4 Glock 17. I don't have a Generation 3 Glock 17. So I'm going to put the whole thing in a Glock 22, a Generation 3 Glock 22. Will it work? I have no idea. Let's find out. I've got steel down range, about 10 yards away. Probably too close. I don't know. It chambered up. Let's see if it fires. That is so loud. Ooh, wow, that's screaming fast. Ooh. Oh, the sound that makes is very impressive. It is rifle loud. I'm going to have to lower the volume down for the camera, for the video, but it is rifle loud. That is hilarious. Let me go ahead and set up my chronograph and we can measure these rounds. All right, my chrono is set up and everything being recorded. I have repositioned the camera to the targets and we'll see how accurate this is. Again, the barrel does not fit this pistol, FYI. So the accuracy is going to be probably piss poor, but we'll find out. I can't believe how loud this is. Accuracy is not bad. Where'd that one go? Right next to it, I think. It locks back. This thing just works. Okay, I definitely got some errors on the chronograph. Let me try two more over the chrony. See if we can get that to actually read something. I'm going to assume of 3,000 feet per second, probably not correct. It could be though, I don't know. All right, two more. Okay, I'm pretty sure we're getting some errant, oh, got a stovepipe too. 2,000 feet per second. Okay, yeah, it's not reading correctly. I don't know what's going on with my chronograph today. I would say the sun's hitting it in a unfortunate way, but let's take a look at the target here. because this thing is smoking fast. The sun's actually right in my eyes here, so that's the reason why there might be some issues with the chronograph. Okay, so we have 2 on target. We got a couple more over here. Actually, that's a 22 long rifle. Here is another one from the 22TCM. The rest, actually, I've been all over the place trying to get it to read on the chronograph. We are back in a farm to try to get a speed reading of that 22TCM. Let's see, it's super bright outside, so I'm going to go ahead and put the polarizer lens on there. See if we can get that looking pretty sharp there. That's too bright. There we go. That looks good. Okay, first of all, I'm going to verify that my Caldwell chronograph is still working. It's bright outside. Sometimes that does have an effect. I got a 22 here just to check out and see. Okay, that is totally working. So let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and finish this chamber off. That's going to be a later video. Hopefully this works because, I mean, this is a crazy looking cartridge. I mean, take a look at that sucker. That is an insane looking cartridge. So hopefully we can get a reading of speed. I think it's just the sun, but it could be just the fact that it's so fast and the bullet is so tiny. That's so loud. Okay, 2,000. That's what it's supposed to be, around 2,000 feet per second out of a pistol, out of a Glock. Well, that is interesting. I blew a primer. I blew a primer out, which let me see if I can get that to focus here. All right, I blew a primer out of the cartridge. I have no idea how I did that. I mean, it is seated just like it should be. Oh, that's in there. Okay, well, I guess that concludes my day of shooting. Oh, nope, I fixed it. I fixed it with some good old farm ingenuity. So, game on. Get one more reading over the chronograph, and we'll see. We'll make sure that 2,000 or so feet per second is about legit. Yep, it is legit. Now, let's take it to my ballistics expert, Dr. Fago. Dr. Fago has been in the industry for some time. He had a little stint in the music industry, but he's back with ballistics expertise now. Let's see what Dr. Fago has to say about the ballistic properties of the mighty 22TCM. I honestly expected a larger splash. Okay, it turns out I just skimmed it. So let's go ahead and try that again. Now that did exactly what I expected. It literally opened it up like a tin can. That's exactly what happened here. Oh boy. That is, the thing packs a punch. It does not have a lot of energy behind the projectile, but holy crap is it moving. I got so carried away at the farm with filming other projects, I forgot to do the outro and conclusion of this video. So let's get to that right now. First of all, let's talk about the issues I had with my Caldwell Crony here. Now, the chronograph, it has these sensors here, and it senses light diminish while it's being shadowed by the bullet passing over it, and it does some calculations inside and spits out a number. But if the sun is beaming down from a sharp angle, it screws up that whole complex set of sensors and calculations, and it gives errant readings. Now, by the way, this is the same through-night flashlight I ran over with a Deuce and a half many years ago. It is still alive and well. So the original question was, what is today's equivalent of the 7.62x25? Well, I did some calculations, and I got a paper here just for a cheat sheet here, but these are only 39 grain bullets. So these are pretty tiny. These are 22, well, it is a 22, but it's 22 rimfire weight. So these are very, very tiny. It's like little hummingbirds going down, screaming down their range. But they are going 2,000 feet per second. That gives an energy of 257-ish foot-pounds of energy. That is a lot from a tiny little pistol like this, but is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. My first thoughts was to compare this to the 22 Magnum, the rimfire 22 Magnum round. And out of a rifle, it is very similar. But out of a pistol, the 22 Magnum round cannot compete with the same speed. It's only about a 12 or 1,300 feet per second average out of a pistol length barrel versus rifle, which is 2,000. So that gives the rimfire 22 only a foot-pounds energy of 150. So this is definitely much stronger than the 22 Magnum out of a pistol. So at this point, I started stepping up the ladder of energy and speed and weight, and I settled on the 32 H&R Magnum round. It's a heavier bullet. It's a 90 grain bullet, usually going, 1,200 feet per second. So that gives an energy of 290 foot-pounds. So it is more energy, it has more energy than the 22 TCM. You will be typically limited on the number of rounds you can carry because it is a revolver style cartridge with a rim on it versus a smooth case pistol style cartridge that would go in a magazine for like a Glock. And next up the ladder, I looked at the 327 Federal Magnum cartridge. Unfortunately, it is still a revolver style cartridge. It still has a rim on the cartridge, so you're still stuck to 5, 6, maybe even 7 rounds. I think Ruger makes a 7-round revolver for it. It's much more modernly acceptable to use a 327 Federal Mag than an 32 H&R. It's a much more powerful round. It is very good for self-defense if you were to just carry a revolver. You're sending usually a 90 to 100 grain bullet, 15 to 1,600 feet per second. So you're looking at a 500 foot-pounds of energy out of a, not a snub-nose revolver, but like a 3 or 4 inch revolver barrel. You're doing pretty good out of that. Now we come to the cartridge that I immediately thought of when I was asked this question, and that is the 357 SIG cartridge. The 357 SIG is one of my favorite cartridges to shoot out of a Glock pistol. It is underutilized and underappreciated by the firearms industry. The 357 SIG is usually shooting a 125 grain bullet at about 1,400 feet per second out of a 5 or so inch barrel, and that gives an energy of 540 foot-pounds. That is screaming fast and a decent amount of heft, a decent amount of weight to get down range at that speed, accelerated in that tiny barrel. Relatively speaking, of course. In comparison, the 7.62x25 cartridge is typically an 85 to 90 grain bullet, and it comes out of the barrel at between 1,200 and 1,500 feet per second. It's not quite as fast as people think it is. In the 40s and 50s, the 7.62x25 cartridge was considered king of the heap. That was the most capable semi-automatic cartridge in the world. But as time has marched forward, technology has also marched forward, and the 7.62x25 cartridge is still above average in capabilities, but it is no longer king of the heap anymore. It is no longer king of energy and speed out of a short pistol barrel. But that's just the way things go. Well, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more is on the way. If you have any comments, questions, or show ideas, leave that in the comment box of the video. I'll try to get as many as possible. If you want to stay in Deuce and Guns channel, there should be a couple of links around here. Go ahead and click on those if you want to stay around and see other things that I've done. And as always, you guys have a great day. See ya.